Welcome to the Port Center Spotlight Podcast. My name is Andrew Murata, host of the podcast right here in Port Jervis, New York, East Main Elementary. And today, very special to be in a kindergarten classroom, a special veteran teacher, ASK long time, but now East Main, Kristin Wadeson. Good afternoon, Kristin.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for a few minutes. The little ones just left here, and thank you for some time.
See all that energy in the room, huh?
I've been knocking on Miss Wadeson's door for a couple years here after seeing her teach and saying, wow, this is magic. You make it look like magic with these kindergartners.
Well, it's fun. They keep me young.
Yeah. Kristin, give a brief introduction. You've been in Port a long time.
I have been.
Tell us who you are, your position, and a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Kristin Wadeson. I've been teaching in Port for almost 22 years. We're approaching my 22nd year.
Anniversary.
Yes, we are. I started in February of 2003. And I've played a little bit, taught a little bit everywhere. I started out at HBE, actually. And I taught at HBE for about 6 or 7 years. And then I got transferred to ASK, where I taught kindergarten. At HB, I always taught the older grades. I was like 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. So that was a big change when I came to kindergarten. And I didn't want it. And now I love it. Yeah. I begged them to make me stay because it's the best grade ever.
A lot of friends and family watching. Jump in the chat, say hello, whether it's colleagues or people here in Port or family and friends. But Kristin, again, I brought some props here. I'm going to make sure I take good notes here in this kindergarten classroom. But Kristin, you do make it look like magic. The kids were all just working. A couple instructions here. You make it look easy. Tell me about working with those young 4, 5, and 6-year-old kids.
It's got its challenges, but this time of year is the best because everything starts to click. It's sticking now. The beginning of the year, you're exhausted all the time and you just repeat yourself a lot. And then they start to really learn everything. And now you saw like they're writing sentences in 3-page books. And that did not happen. That did not happen in September. We were writing names and, it's really cool. There's no other grade where they learn this much and they become so independent. Yeah. It's very rewarding.
Is it you feel very responsible of like you're helping, you didn't birth all these people, but like you're helping create young people, literally reading, potty, safety, care. I mean, all of these wonderful things you're teaching them. Do you feel a great sense of responsibility?
A little bit. I didn't notice it as much until my own children went to school and we'd sit around the table and talk about our day. And you'd always hear about their teachers. And that's where I kind of realized like, oh, wow, if my students are going home and talking about their day, like they're talking about everything Mrs. Wadeson does. And then you realize like how much you actually become a part of their life. So it's awesome. It's really cool.
Stop, look, and listen. Okay. She said that here in class, and I jumped up. I was ready to listen. And tremendous structure and tremendous teamwork with your co-teachers in here, your aides, and it really is a beautiful collaboration working with them. So tell me, the bell rings, the kids come in, and you just get right to it? Do you go math, science, social studies, English? How do you break up a kindergarten day?
We start out every day with a little bit of morning work. The kids come in, they have breakfast, they unpack all on their own now. In the beginning of the year, they needed a lot of help, a lot of reminders, but they kind of do it independently. They have breakfast. We do a morning meeting, and then we get right into the phonics and reading groups, and then math and, more writing and more reading and science and social studies at the end of the day, throw in special. And yeah, it's great. We have 3 adults in this room. So I get to work with Olivia Naratich and Robin Conklin all day long. And they're amazing. And so the 3 of us can really zone in on what the kids need, what we need to do to make sure they're all successful. And you might come in here and see one teacher teaching, but 2 of us might have some groups going on at our table to keep them focused and make sure that they're all understanding what they need to do. Lots of teamwork, lots of collaboration. And, they're little, but if you let them know their expectations, they're going to live up to it. And they want you to be proud of them. They want to show you that they can do it.
Yeah. So even come getting the magic pencil here before they left here. Can I get, and you said it's right here. You made them go get it. You didn't do it for them. Yeah. And then you certainly complimented the behavior that you saw there.
Yeah. Everyone wants to hear they do good, right?
Kristin, it is just amazing to see kids learning to read. There's words on the page, and then you're sounding the letters together. It does look like, again, magic. Talk to me about the magic of the beauty of teaching a child to read.
It's amazing. And it starts out just those letters and sounds and just lots of repetition. And we, of course, ask our families to help us with that in the beginning of the year. And then there are those, high frequency words that we teach them and we plug along and we drill and practice. And, once they can finally pick up that book and they're like, oh, but look, it says I and like, and it has all those words you taught us, and they put it together and they read it themselves. Nothing better.
Yeah.
Nothing better.
How about curiosity? They're so curious. They're asking questions. How do you manage, like, when it starts to, the cap is starting to come off and they're just so curious and excited about something, but you have work that you got to get done. How do you balance out the curiosity and the fun versus we got to learn these words?
Sometimes you get right into the curiosity. The next thing you know, the time has gone by. Sometimes you got to stop it, and just be like, we'll come back to this tomorrow. Or I don't know the answer to that. We'll look into that tomorrow. Yeah, sometimes you want to figure it all out with them because they have such great ideas. And you're next thing you know, you're pulling stuff up on the internet, showing them what they might ask. It all depends. Sometimes you just got to tell them, no, like, enough is enough. We got to get back to what we're doing.
Yeah. Is Mrs. Wadeson's mom watching? I heard mom might be watching. Mom, if you're watching, jump in. She's an incredible teacher. And Kristin, I noticed that, again, 5 minutes in the room a couple years ago. I'm like, wow, she's an expert. What are some of the expert ingredients that you bring to the table? When you show up to work, your class is going to be, what makes you, and I know it's hard for you to say I'm an excellent teacher, but I'm telling you, you're an excellent teacher. What are the ingredients that go into that?
I don't really know. A lot of planning. Without a doubt, teachers have to plan a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I give up a lot of my weekend time to make sure everything's, done, ready for the week. I know Olivia and I try to plan as much as we can together. As a grade level in kindergarten, we bounce ideas off and we follow our maps and all that. So we're all kind of on the same page, and then do our own things within our classrooms. But yeah, it takes a lot of planning. And there's trial and error, there's those things that you are like, oh, this is going to be awesome. I can't wait to do this. And you have a whole lesson going and it's not going.
Yeah.
So, you learn what works and what doesn't work.
And classroom management. I mean, a kid's got to go to the bathroom. Can you tell when a kid's got to go to the bathroom? I'm sure they have accidents. Kids learning not to talk out loud. How do you manage all those classroom management techniques?
Yeah, it's rules. We have rules.
Mm-hmm.
So we set up our classroom rules from the very beginning, from day one. And my favorite rule that we have, and from when we were at ASK, I believe Mr. Cancredi brought them up, but the Port Pride 5.
Oh, yeah.
And they've been a little bit tweaked since we moved to EMA, but our favorite rule is be your best. And basically, I always tell our kids, if you are doing everything you're supposed to be doing and you're being your best, then you're following all of the rules. And I could just ask the kids, like, when they start to get a little rowdy or a little too noisy and it might be harder to pull them back, I just say, hey guys, what's rule number 5? And they all will say in unison, be your best. And I'll just say, okay, show me that. And they do. But you gotta, like, that's work that goes into that.
You build that.
Yeah. We reviewed rules many times a day after day after day in the beginning of the year. And then after a while, they start to get it.
Someone like me walks in the room, I'm like, this looks easy. The kids are all listening. Everyone's doing with it. This is easy. They make it look easy. And I've been in an Algebra 2 class, a college level class, and you're like, whoa, this is really hard content. But you walk in here and you say, like, oh, this is easy. But in a way, it's almost more challenging because you're still molding the kids. A junior knows how to walk in the classroom,
Mm-hmm.
open their book, and get ready for class. You're making that happen.
Yeah.
In a way, it's like more challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I first moved to kindergarten, I was so lucky. When I first came to kindergarten, I taught with Pat McCooey, and she was better than any master's degree I have.
Wow.
She was fantastic.
Wow.
And I remember my very first lesson by myself, because I kind of just watched her the first few days because I really had no clue what to do in a kindergarten classroom. And I remember just starting out my lesson and she just stopped me and was like, I'm so sorry to stop you, but just tell them to open the box and take out the red crayon. And I was like, what? Like, how do I do this? And once I figured out that they really need step by step, if you put the time in the beginning, you don't have to worry about it later on because then they get it. But yeah, like you really are hand holding them all the way through. And then at the end of the year, you put on this beautiful moving up ceremony. And these little guys that couldn't do anything are singing and dancing on stage, and they're doing it all on their own. And it makes you remember what they were like when they came in September. And it's amazing. Like they're different kids when they leave in June.
Wow.
Makes it all worthwhile.
How about graduation? You've been here a long time. When you see, do you remember the kids 12 years later?
So
do you remember them?
it was only my first class that I had from kindergarten.
Okay.
Just graduated like 3 years ago, I think.
Okay.
So I was doing the port walk and I'm standing in the kindergarten hallway and all of a sudden I hear, "Hey, Mrs. Wadeson." And I turned around and it was Gene Corcoran's son, Danny. And he was like a man, and he was in my very first kindergarten class, and he gave me a hug, and it took my breath away. It was like really awesome. And then like that started it. Like there was a bunch of other kids from our class, and they all just kept coming over and giving me hugs, and I kind of had to reflect a little bit, you know, like that was really cool.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really neat.
So are you going back to like a class list from 18 years ago now? No, 12 years ago, like looking at your
See who's going to graduate?
Yeah.
There are certain grades, you know, that stick out in your head. Like, so that was my very first kindergarten class, but then I kind of moved around and I wasn't always just in kindergarten. So then I think the first group from when Robin and I were together with Dawn Bazzelli, I think they're probably like freshmen or no, they're sophomores or juniors this year.
Okay.
So I think I got like 2 more years for that group.
Very cool. If you're watching live, again, jump in and say hello. We're here live at East Main. We got a few minutes. The kids are at library class. Ms. Wadeson, let's go back. Like teachers, some are just born, right? When they're 5 and 6 years old, they are playing with teacher desks. They're doing it. When did you say like, yeah, I want to be a teacher? When did that happen for you?
I thought I always wanted to be a teacher. My older sister and I, we were those kids that sat there and we played teacher all the time. And my older sister is also a teacher. She married a teacher. I'm married to a teacher. Education's definitely, you know, something we wanted. But I always thought I always wanted to be a teacher. And not too many years ago, I was looking through old boxes of memories and I found a paper that I wrote in my freshman year of high school.
Oh.
And it was like a note to your future self. And it said like, I was very adamant, like, do not become a teacher. It didn't say what I was supposed to become, but I did not want to be a teacher then. I don't know what happened because I was always under the impression that it was what I always wanted to do. So I don't know what happened my freshman year of high school, but.
So Plattsburgh State, you went to college. Were you an education major and all that?
I was. I went in with a declared major. I just was elementary ed at first. And my sophomore year, I worked for AmeriCorps for like a year. I did a lot of community service. Nice. And I wound up working with a little boy one-on-one in his classroom. And he was special needs. And I added special ed on after that because I just fell in love with it. And that kind of gave me a whole different approach to my education experience.
And then right out of Plattsburgh, you got your job?
Yeah, I graduated December 2002, and by February 2003, I was hired. Good old classified ads, looking and circling the newspaper.
Here in Port Jervis?
Here in Port Jervis.
Wow, so you've only ever worked here, right out of college?
I've only ever worked here.
Wow.
I had like a month off.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you remember anything from student teaching that kind of like, oh yeah, this is what I need to do, or a significant experience?
I had a great student teaching experience. I did it in Saratoga Springs, and I was with the same team of teachers for both. So I was with 6th grade science and ELA, and then I was 6th grade. I was with the special ed teacher.
Nice.
And yeah, I loved it, but I wasn't sure that I wanted to be a co-teach teacher. There was just a weird vibe between the teacher I was with and her co-teacher. And I was like, oh, I don't know if that's what I want. And then that's all I've ever done. And I've been so fortunate to never have that kind of relationship. Yeah. I've always lucked out with who I was placed with.
Well, luck, hard work, your personality, your energy. There's always a great yin and yang. I've seen you in the room. Who's doing the talking? Who's doing the leading? who's doing the supporting. We're at one of the side tables right now. I do feel like I'm in like Munchkin Land,
Yeah.
the giant guy, little chairs,
Yep.
little potty.
And when you have like bruises that come like below your knee,
Yeah.
you're like, where did I get that
Yeah.
from? It's because everything here is smaller.
Do you find yourself like when you speak to an adult, like because you're with little kids all day long, when you're with an adult, do you have to like shift out of 5-year-old mode? Is that like, does your husband ever say, I'm not 5, don't talk to me like that?
No, he doesn't. Sometimes though, because we both teach, like we need to just sometimes like we don't really say much when we first get home. It's like, hey, how was your day? Okay, good.
Yeah.
And we just take a little break from each
30
other
30
before we
minute-
talk
30-minute
about
prep
school.
period.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I find when I'm with adults, not so much that I need to like step out of it, but I talk a lot more. You know, sometimes it's like I gotta shut myself off.
Yeah. Great energy. Again, you walk in the room, it looks easy. Kristin, we're very fortunate to have been building our pre-K program. Has that made a difference in what you're seeing with kids that are in school for a year before they get to you? Is that a big difference?
Yeah, we have noticed a difference. Lots of kids with like knowledge of their letters and their sounds, which is great. You know, name writing, things like that are already in place. So yeah, there's definitely been some improvement there. Yeah.
Do they still in the pages like they trace on those big lines? Is that how you still do the
We
letters?
still do the letters that way, but now we also do them on iPads and you do them with a dry erase marker. So there's so many more things than we had as kids.
Yeah.
Like, what did we write with? A pencil and a crayon.
I'm
And that was
ready.
it.
I'm ready today. I
Yeah,
got
and
my
now
eraser.
they've got so many other things going on. We take out shaving cream sometimes just to make it fun.
I feel a little guilty when I come in here. Everything's so neat. The wording is so neat. Everything's so pretty. And then I look at my writing. I'm like, oh my God, it's so terrible. Wow.
It's okay. A kindergarten teacher did teach you though how to make all those letters. The
All
right
that
way.
stuff. Yes. What would the Kristin Wadeson from 2025 tell the Kristin Wadeson that was starting in February of 2002? What's your advice to a new teacher in their first or second year?
It gets easier, then it gets harder. And it might get easier again. But just don't give up. You know, it really is a great job. It's a great career. You know, days when you think you aren't getting through to your students, you don't know. They're taking it in. They're not going to remember your bad days, but they're going to remember everything else you gave them. And I think you just got to remember that, you know?
Kristin, you have really good energy though. Is that something you have to ratchet up or you like this all the time? Is that something is this your like classroom stage presence?
No, I think I have good energy. I have pretty good energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How
I
do
mean, I
you-
drink a lot of coffee in the morning.
How do you
but-
generate that each day? It's hard each day to bring that.
Yeah,
How do you do that?
I just do. I mean, there's 19 kids in here. We got to be ready to go, you know? Plus, I got a young coworker. She keeps me on my toes.
You just come in here, they're prepping the room here. The kids will be back soon. Do you go to bed early? Are you like crawling into bed because you're so tired?
Yeah.
You go to bed early?
Like 9:30.
Yeah.
And I'm up by 5:30.
Yeah. And if you have a disrupted night of sleep, does that really impact you here because there's so much happening?
It might. But I mean, if you're tired, you know, you still got to plug through. They're not going to be tired. So
Yeah.
you got to keep it up.
Yeah.
Once you get to 3 o'clock, then you can, you know, breathe.
Catch your breath.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kristin, one of the things learning at the lower levels for me, you know, the bell would ring as a secondary, a high school person, and the kids go. Like, I'm not worrying about it. If you didn't get on your bus, if you didn't go here, that's on you. You're a young adult, but you have to watch these kids every second.
Yeah,
Like,
there's no not getting on your bus.
ever. You know, like again, you almost can't take your eyes off them because you don't, you know, you want to watch. Is that stressful of like either a kid getting hurt or lost? Is that like the biggest stress that you have?
Field trips, yeah, they're stressful because you're constantly counting, but we just always make sure we're counting heads. Like, it's funny, but like, I think if you're a kindergarten teacher, you just know you always have to count.
Yeah.
And I learned that right off the bat. That was one of the things Miss McCoy taught me my first year. Just constantly are counting them.
Can't
Like,
lose a kid.
no, you can't lose a kid. Gosh, could you imagine if you lost a
No,
kid?
no, I
And I've
can't. No.
never lost a kid.
No, I can't.
And Robin's always good at reminding us. We always have to count them. Like, whenever we are online to go to the cafeteria, to go to special, we always count them. And if you count them, you're not going to lose them. You'll be good.
I love too the positive reinforcement of the behaviors. They just walk the kids to library, and again, the kid, you know, they're like this, and you're like proud peacocks. The teacher's like, oh my, look at my class on the line, you know?
Yeah, when they could walk in a straight line, that is fantastic.
But then you guys commend them and they feel good and you feel good. And it's like, it's a win-win-win situation.
Great. Yeah. Our whole, like the hallways here don't have, like ASK had like a nice little silver line. So we would just tell the kids, get on that silver line, get a nice straight line. There's no silver line in the hallways here. So it's even more amazing when they walk on a straight line because they don't have it. So it's like, yeah, now they really got this line.
And did they have to, they go in the elevator or they went
No,
3 flights
they go
up?
3 flights up to the
It's
library.
like PE class.
Yeah, it is. It is like PE
You've
class.
been
with
in
them.
the old middle school here.
And then you got to watch them come down the 3 flights and
wow.
all of the 5th grade behind them waiting
Causing traffic.
as the buildup.
Let's chat a little bit about that. The transition here, first year East Main. It is beautiful, but I know it did not come without its headaches, without its problems, without its things that still need to be done. Talk to me about the transition here.
You know, I think the day that we all came to set up our room, they were like, "Oh, your room's not ready." And we were like, "Ah!" But I don't know, just like any other setback that any of us have had here, we just went with the flow. I mean, Labor Day weekend, there were teachers that were here like Monday setting up their rooms, like keeping on going, you know, just making sure they were ready for those kids.
Yeah.
And, you know, so even though things weren't ready, like you wouldn't have known it with our staff here because our staff's amazing. So we just kept going.
The building was
kept
open
going.
that whole weekend, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was open that whole weekend.
Yeah.
I was here up until late Saturday with my daughter. She was helping me.
Wow.
And I mean, it wasn't perfect, but you know, we're getting there. Now look at it. Looks like a classroom.
It looks like a classroom, feels like a classroom, and there's certainly learning happening in here. Miss Henyon saying hello. Mr. McCooey saying hello.
I had her son many years ago.
Yeah.
Hi, Pat.
Very cool. If you're watching live, say hello, jump in. Kristin, another thing I noticed being with the little kids, you know, high school kids, you can tell if they know the answer, right? They either raise their hand or that you could see that they got it or they're really tricking you. Can you tell by just looking at the kid, this kid is not getting it. This kid is with me. Can you tell?
You could tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or sometimes it's like the opposite. You think they know it, but then you realize that they didn't know it. But lots of just checking in on them.
Yeah. And you're not giving
you're
not giving a 50 question test. How do you check for that learning? How do you check that they got it?
So that's the one thing that's crazy in kindergarten is a lot of it is done one-on-one.
Yeah.
So we literally sit with the kids and we show them every letter, uppercase, lowercase. They tell us the name of it. We go through, they tell us the sounds.
Wow.
Yeah,
So you're sitting here with
I'm
flashcards.
sitting here with flashcards.
So if they get 5 out of the 24 letters, what you singing under the alarm? You ringing the bell? Is there fire drill? What?
Yeah, there's big alarms.
Yeah. What do you?
Well, then I just have to go back and teach them the 24 they or you know however many.
One-on-one.
Yeah, I mean, once we do assessment, like if we notice a bunch of kids maybe missed one letter, you know, you'd pull a little small group over and you do some work with that.
Yeah.
You know.
We're at the table here. There's
This is my table.
Four little chairs. There's 4 or 5 little chairs over there. A bunch of little spots. Even they're sitting at the little table here. Does your back hurt sitting at these things? I'm gonna need a chiropractor after this. How do you get used?
You're just used to it. I've been here for a long time.
I got like one. Yeah, but it's beautiful.
I should have given you the wobbly ones.
No, thank you. No, I'm good with that. Kristin, anything else you wanted to say or share while we're here chatting? This has been fun. And again, your positive energy is contagious. Anything that you wanted to say to our school community or our families?
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's a million things I'd like to say. Just, you know, to all the kids out there, and, you know, those kids that I may have had years ago, maybe you're adults now. I don't know. I'm sure I told you when you were here in my classroom, but always follow your dreams. There was a kid the other day who was telling me, a student I had, and he's still in this school, and he said something, well, I just can't do it. You know, and I was like, no. I was like, you could do whatever you want to do. And he's like, really? I was like, yes, anything. And he's like, how about an astronaut? Can I be an astronaut? I don't know what it takes to be an astronaut, but I said, if you really want to, I'll help you figure it out. What do you do?
That's good advice.
Yeah, you just got to always keep going. Follow those dreams.
Do you ask these kids like what they want to be? Is that a question that they get asked during the year?
It is. Actually, we have it in like our All About Me book. And I think, you know, at this point, you know, girls want to be princesses, boys want to be, you know, wrestlers and football players. I think they're too little, right?
Yeah. Well, you start.
You never know.
Some of them knew right away about
Yeah.
wanting to be a teacher.
Yeah, you never know.
You never know.
You never
yeah.
know.
Kristen, you are married. Your husband Joel. You have 2 children, Tanner and Amelia, 13 and 10. That's a lot. You're a baseball mom. You are a dance mom.
Dance mom.
What else did you say here? Gardening? No.
Oh yeah, I do.
Gardening.
I love to garden. Yeah.
So I got my magic bird here. I don't have my portcolors today, but talk to me about balancing the work and the energy here. 8 to whatever every day, and then your family. You're going to games. You're going to events. You're going on vacation. Your weekends. Talk to me about balance in your life, being a super mom as well as a super teacher. How do you do it?
I think you just got to always put things, in perspective. What needs to happen? What is going to happen first? What's most important? What can come out? And to-do lists and sticky notes. They're all over my house. So I remember what I have to do in my car. Like literally I start my car in the morning and it's like, pick up this one at this time, drop off this one here. Cause I'll forget.
Yeah.
There's too many things going on, but just putting everything in perspective and, the important stuff. I am so lucky because Joel is amazing. Like my husband does it all. So like, if something needs to be cleaned, he's starting to vacuum, he's cleaning. If laundry needs to be done, he does it. And he works, we both have like the same job. So we both work really hard and we have common goals and somehow the balance happens because, we're in this together.
That's nice. That's really nice. Again, your children here. So your son is the baseball player?
Yeah, he actually plays for Scotty Robertson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Scotty's his coach.
Very cool.
So everything comes around.
And how about the garden? It's we're off season right now.
Yeah.
Are you planting in the house?
Not yet. So my husband actually starts all our plants from seeds and brings them he does it with his class.
Oh.
He teaches at BOCES. And so his students all plant. And then he's got a great window in his classroom and he brings them home in like May and we plant them from there. But we do have a greenhouse that I'm hoping to get running.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Herbs, vegetables. What do you think? Is it straight tomatoes? What do you got?
So we used to have a veggie garden. We moved within the last few years. So we haven't actually started like a veggie garden where we are, but we want to bring that back.
Yeah.
But yeah, just lots of flower gardens and yeah.
Okay. You enjoy that. Stress relieving for you.
Yeah, I do. Plus it's beautiful.
Yeah.
One of my first jobs was working at a wildflowers garden with one of my best friends.
Nice.
And it was a blast. And ever since then, I just,
very cool.
got a knack for it.
You got to do your thing there. You got to chase your passions. One of the questions is something interesting, something different. You were an extra in a movie, In and Out, that you could see you in a few different scenes. You were a senior in high school.
I was 17.
Did you happen to be in the right place at the right time, or you signed up? How did that?
Yeah, they were filming a good portion of it in my town, and they did like a casting call at the Sugarloaf Lyceum Center.
Oh.
And me and a bunch of my friends went, and I got a call back. So it was pretty cool. I was so grateful that I was a good student because the only reason my parents let me do it, I had missed like a week and a half of school.
Wow, to be an extra.
Yeah, and the only reason they let me do it was because they were like, it's your senior year, you got good grades. Like, when will you ever get this opportunity again? And it was really cool. And like, I met like really famous people, Tom Selleck, Debbie Reynolds, Matt Dillon.
Oh, wow.
No, yeah, Matt Dillon. I always confuse him and Matt Damon. But there were like Kevin Kline. There were some good actors in there. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
My mom still loves Tom Selleck.
Yeah, I met him and he signed an autograph for my mom because she loved Tom Selleck.
Who didn't love that?
Yeah.
Did you get a ride in the Ferrari?
I didn't get a ride in the Ferrari. Frank Oz directed. So like one day he actually brought Kermit the Frog and sang the Rainbow Connection for us. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Cool, right?
Here's Coach Robinson watching on the interview now. Yeah.
Yeah, go cool. Blue Sox is right.
Kristen, again, I had the magic wand. You make it look like magic. But if I were to give you the wand here and you could have a magic wand for education, whether it's for your students, our community, our school, what would you wave that magic wand for in hope of?
Oh, I don't know. Well, that's a really tricky one.
Wasn't on the list. Sorry.
The magic wand. I don't know. This is really hard.
We can revisit it. We could come back to it.
I might have to think about it.
We come back to it. That's all right. We'll phone a friend.
Yeah. Give me a minute with that.
And that's because I see you cultivating it. I see you doing the work. It's not magic. It's intentional actions. It's things you're doing on purpose there. But we have hope. We have hope for our children and our
and
kids.
Maybe that's it, that they all believe in themselves. Because not every kid believes in themselves. They don't always get that positive reinforcement that they need. Sometimes you tell a kid like, you could do anything, and they look at you like, what? It's like, no, you really can.
And I
Just need a little extra practice.
see the teachers here doing that. I do see constant encouragement.
Yeah.
Again, secondary, we see kids following the rules. We see teachers encouraging kids, but it's different with the younger kids.
Yeah.
It really is about modeling that behavior you want to see.
Yeah, and sometimes when you're explaining rules, they don't even really understand what a rule is. They don't get it when they're 5 at first. So just giving them more and more. But yeah, I would say that they all know their self-worth and continue with that. Not just when they're in the walls of an elementary school class.
Those middle school
That's
kids
important.
are on their way, 6th grade now this year. A quick advertisement, if you are watching this, we did put out census. Any kids 5 and under, new to the district or babies just born, even if they're under the 1 year old. I know that some staff had babies recently. Make sure you fill out that census. It's on our website, and just fill that out there. Kristin, you're not going to teach forever. You've been here a long time. I'm sure it feels like forever. But one day, at some point, you are going to walk over to Pike Street and turn in that retirement.
I am.
And what is it that you hope that your families say, your students say, your colleagues say? What do you hope it is that people say about you?
I would love for them to say that it was a good run. They were my class, students of mine. I'd want them to think, I'd like to think that I had a positive impact on, my students. I'd like them to be like, oh, Mrs. Wadeson's retiring. That's sad. No, kids aren't going to have her as a teacher. I don't want them to be like, oh, thank God, it's about time. When it's too much, I don't want to be here anymore. When I run out of my energy, send me home.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm I can count on 2 hands how much more time I have left.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Wow. And do you and your husband have a plan? Some teachers are subbing in September. Other people head south. They never come back. Or do you some people go do something else? They start a business.
Yeah.
Do you have an idea of what that might want to be in the next chapter of your life?
Our kids will be early 20s, leaving college or finishing up at least. And I am hoping that we go back to camping. We used to camp a lot when our kids were really young.
Nice.
And now that their schedules are crazy, we sold our camper a few years ago. But
glamping or camping?
A little more glamping.
Yeah, I'm a glamper.
Yeah. We had a nice camping trailer.
Very nice.
Yeah, so I want an Airstream when I retire. That is my goal.
Big bucks.
Yeah.
Big bucks.
Yeah. But I would have worked really hard for it at that point.
Okay. And what's your role? Are you the captain of the camp things? Your husband the captain?
I'm the one who helps him back in when I get yelled at in the parking spaces. I'm like, no, more to the right. He's like, what are you doing? You don't want to get him getting out of the car when you're trying to back him in. No. So that's me. I'm the shotgun rider.
Okay.
Which my son just recently told me he is now dad's shotgun rider. I've lost my spot.
You getting bumped?
I am, because usually Joel takes him to baseball and I'm taking my daughter to dance.
Okay.
I did. I lost my seat.
Very cool. The camping, nice family time, and that. So good luck with that. Board member Bill Harris watching. That's right, Mr. Harris. I know you like the pencil too. We got all the tricks here. Kristin, the little people are coming, so it is time. One last question.
Yes, sir.
Port Pride is oozing. It's in full effect. Good things are happening everywhere. What does it mean to you?
So I'm not from Port Jervis. I didn't grow up here. I wasn't born here, but I do have a lot of Port pride. Port is kind of like my home away from home. You've provided me since I was 22 years old. This has been my career, I just have a lot of gratitude towards Port Jervis. It's such a great place, and it's provided me with my career and being able to provide for my family. So that's amazing. And on top of that feeling of gratitude that I have for Port, it's also a great way to sum it up. Seeing your old students doing amazing things. Right down the hall from me in kindergarten, I am teaching with one of my old students, a student I had.
Wow.
Lauren Kalanchis is my colleague.
Shout out,
to me,
Lauren.
that is one of the coolest things that could have possibly happened. There's some students I know where they've ended up, and now that I'm in kindergarten, most of my students are still in school. But from when I taught 4th grade, just seeing it all full circle. I have a student this year in my classroom, and I had his dad my first year teaching.
Wow.
That's just really cool,
Wow.
I don't know. I think it's kind of neat. So I don't know, that Port's a great little spot. My kids like always used to like coming out here with me. We'd bring them to like get ice cream, and during COVID, they'd come with us to, you know, sing happy birthday to students, and they always just thought this was the coolest area. So we like to come out here a lot and go like down the river and stuff. And they think it's really like when they were little, they thought it was so cool because we don't have neighbors, and every neighborhood we went to, they were like, oh, everyone has a neighbor, and like they're not used to that. So this was, you know, a lot of Port pride.
Beautiful town, and again, the school district, the community is really coming together in a lot of ways. And Kristin, you look at your career, right? You came here right out of college, 21, 22 years old. You've stayed here. You're a great teacher, and you're somebody that what you can tell she really likes what she does. She's good at what she does, and she brings the energy each and every day. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Kristin Wadeson, everybody. If you're watching this on record, jump in the chat with a comment. Kristin, again, I appreciate the time. The kids are literally going to be in the room here any second. So
and it's snack time, so it's going to be loud.
Yeah, I might stick around for a snack. Kristin Wadeson, lifetime Port Jervis teacher, teaching the little kids. It's not magic, friends. They might make it look easy, but it is challenging. She does a great job. So thanks for a few minutes.
Thank you.
Cool. Can I get a go Port?
Go Port.
Bam. See you, everybody. Have a great day off tomorrow, Lunar New Year.
What
That's
are you
a
doing?
Nice little surprise. I'm gonna be typing. I got books to write. I got stuff to do. That quiet
Not
time.
taking that day off. Huh?
Not is it? You
We'll
got
be skiing.
right. Yeah, you going skiing tomorrow?
Mhm.
Yeah, the weather's
family.
been good for skiing.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, we're gonna hit up Mountain Creek, treating the kids.
Bam.
Yeah.
Enjoy. Be careful, and enjoy that day off, everyone. We are fortunate to have educators like Kristin. Again, lifetime here. So we appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Leave her a positive comment. Shout out to EME here, all the amazing people. And thanks, Port Jervis. Bam.